Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is just so deeply relatable, it might literally change how you see yourself, or, the people closest to you. We're breaking down the architecture of hyper-independence. We're going to explore the fascinating psychology behind why some people just stubbornly refuse to ask for help, even when they're completely underwater. If you've ever felt like you have to carry the entire weight of the world on your own shoulders, or maybe you know someone who does, well, you're definitely going to want to stick around for what we uncover today. Section 1. The problem with asking, specifically refusing help. Okay, let's dive right into this by starting with a scenario I think a lot of us have either experienced firsthand or watched someone we love go through. Think about this. Have you ever been completely overwhelmed with a problem, but the actual thought of asking someone else for help just feels impossible? It's a very specific, almost paralyzed kind of feeling. You desperately need the support, like the water is literally rising around you. But reaching out and requesting a hand feels like trying to jump across a massive canyon. It just feels entirely impossible to pull off. Section 2, stubbornness versus survival, and protecting the mind. So, to really understand this, we've got to completely shift our perspective on what's actually going on beneath the surface. Now, to the outside world, your friends, your family, your coworkers, this flat-out refusal to ask for help, it just looks like a brick wall of stubbornness, right? Or maybe pride. It looks like you're just being difficult. But internally, psychology tells us that what it actually is simply your mind trying to protect you. What the outside world judges as this glaring character flaw is actually a very active, highly powerful psychological protection mechanism in overdrive. What we're really dealing with here is to find a strong independence. And the source material makes a crucial point. Refusing to ask for help isn't just a passing mood. It's a learned pattern. It's a deeply ingrained psychological blueprint. Basically, it happens when a temporary survival mechanism gets locked into your brain and morphs into a permanent personality trait. It literally becomes your default way of moving through the world. So that leaves us with a big question. Where exactly does this blueprint come from? That brings us to Section 3, Adapting through Self-Reliance, looking at brain adaptation. We really need to look back at how the brain originally adapted to its environment by leaning so heavily on self-reliance. There's a deeply painful emotional anchor to all of this, and it's the feeling of being, quote, never the first choice. According to the psychology we're breaking down today, this intense, fierce independence typically develops in individuals who grew up feeling exactly like that. Like they were never the priority for someone else. And when you're operating from that kind of lingering pain, your brain has to step in and figure out a way to cope with that reality. Let's actually walk through this progression step by step, because it's honestly incredibly clear once you see it. Step 1 starts with inconsistent emotional support growing up. When the people you're supposed to rely on aren't reliably there for you, your environment just feels totally unpredictable. And that leads directly into Step 2. Your brain simply learns to stop expecting rescue or reassurance. It just adapts to the data it's getting. It realizes, hey, waiting for someone else is a losing game. Which brings us to Step 3. Because you had to figure things out on your own time and time again, handling pain and solving problems alone becomes an automatic survival skill. You don't even think about it anymore. You just automatically take care of it yourself. Section 4. Why we distrust help. Exploring emotional unsafety. You see, as we get older, this deeply ingrained survival skill creates a massive complication when people actually do show up and offer to help us. I want to be absolutely clear about this. Deep down, the core issue isn't that you hate receiving help. Honestly, a part of you probably really craves the relief of someone sharing the load. The real issue? It's that you just don't trust that help to stay. It's a deep-seated, protective distrust in the permanence of that assistance. You're essentially just waiting for the other shoe to drop, expecting the support to vanish, just like it did in the past. So here is the absolutely crucial point. For the hyper-independent brain, depending on others is categorized as complete and utter emotional unsafety. It feels like this massive, terrifying risk. Now contrast that with doing everything yourself. Yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah, it can absolutely lead to burnout. But to your brain, it offers absolute certainty. You know exactly what you're going to get if you do it yourself. And when your brain is faced with the extreme emotional risk of relying on someone else versus the safe absolute guarantee of doing it yourself, well, it's going to choose absolute certainty every single time. Moving to Section 5, a new psychological lens for seeing behavior. Let's zoom out for a second and look at how these insights provide us with a completely new way forward. The truth is, once you understand these patterns, you start seeing behavior in a completely different way.
Grasping this psychological blueprint totally rewrites how we view our own survival mechanisms. And, maybe even more importantly, it changes how we view the actions of the people we care about. When a friend or a partner pulls away or refuses our help, we don't have to take it as a personal rejection anymore or just assume they're being difficult. We can actually recognize the survival skill that is actively at play.
So I want to leave you with this final, thought-provoking question to chew on. Whose stubbornness is actually just a shield? Think about the people in your life, or, maybe take a look in the mirror. Once we realize that this hyper-independence is just a shield built by the brain to protect against emotional unsafety, we can approach it with so much more empathy and grace. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. If you found this as eye-opening as I did, make sure you come back for more deep dives into real psychology. Until next time, keep learning, keep looking deeper, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.